Hi everyone, it's Rudy and Aaron with your February 15th Waco episode number 4 update.
Yeah, you know what? On Amazon Prime, which is where this 6-part series is coming out, it was actually episode 4, and the name of it was Of Milk and Men, but they mislabeled it. They called it episode 7, even though it should have been called episode 4, but anyway, it is what it is.
The Davidians needed milk for their babies because the mothers were either shot or their lactation stopped. So they asked for 6 gallons of milk, and the FBI insisted that they send out children to trade for the milk. And when the exchange took place on the driveway, the FBI said to the Davidians, "You know, this can just stop right now." And the Davidians said to the FBI, "Yeah, it can stop right now if you leave."
Right. Yep. And also the FBI put a bug in the milk crate so they could listen to what's going on inside. You know, the FBI loves to bug everything. They put, you know, they're all about spying and on the American people. I'm still in kind of shock that when the Snowden movie came out and he revealed that the United States government is basically listening in to every, you know, spying on every single American, that we're not in a total outrage about that. We should be completely outraged that our government is spying on everybody in America.
Yeah, it's mainstream news now that even your television turned off can listen to you.
Yeah. Another thing in the movie, too, I think that was a very dramatic, intense point was Lon Horiuchi, you know, that's who I would say it probably was. There was a guy by the name of Thibodeau, and he went out to bury a body.
And this whole series is based on his book.
Yeah, that's right. His book is the one that the whole series is based upon. But he went out to bury a body in the middle of the day. He did not have a weapon on him. And this sniper kept asking his commanding officer, permission to kill, permission to kill. And you could tell that these FBI agents are just like
dying to kill.
They're just waiting at the bit to pull that trigger and blow somebody's head off. And did I mention that I hate the FBI?
Okay, that's enough.
Yeah,
we know.
I absolutely hate them, and I could go in to some serious tirades about how much I hate the FBI.
We need to kick them while they're down right now.
Yep, they're getting bad press all over the country, and they should get bad press.
Who arrests these guys?
Yeah, who can arrest the FBI? That's a good point.
I know the sergeant of arms can arrest the POTUS, but I don't know about the FBI.
Well, somebody's got to take the FBI down and destroy the organization. They are absolutely from the loins of Satan himself. They are not good for the American people. They are full of wicked, evil reprobates from hell that love to have, you know, put tyranny on the American people. This movie exposes that to some degree. What else? They brought in the sheriff because the sheriff, I guess, of the local county had a good relationship with the Branch Davidians. And when they did trade the milk, the sheriff said he didn't need to wear a bulletproof vest because he knew they weren't going to shoot him. Of course, the FBI guy, he had to wear a bulletproof vest. But I remember the sheriff saying that they could have arrested David Koresh anytime they wanted to.
Any day of the week while he was out jogging.
Yeah, they jogged every morning. They didn't have to do this whole killing. Going in with guns a-blazing and shooting everybody. Of course, they lost the camera. That was one of the things in the previous episodes. They did record everything, but they somehow lost the camera that would have showed that the FBI shot first because they couldn't have that get out on. Also, one of the other narratives that's promoted in this movie over and over again is how much the FBI lies. That
constantly.
Yeah, they constantly are demonizing the Branch Davidians in the media. And yet what they're saying to the media is just outright lies. And
yeah, they said they tried to deliver milk, but they couldn't.
But that's not true. And so this whole concept of law enforcement officials demonizing their targets and mainstream media eating it up and feeding it to the public is very common. I mean, we saw it with Bryce Quellar. We saw it with Russell Landers, Schaefer Cox. And so when FBI or law enforcement officials tell you something about their target, it's not necessarily true at all. It probably is not true. And so that was another narrative that was promoted during the movie. And, these were real people. We may not have agreed with them theologically. We may not have agreed with some of the...
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. The government didn't have a right to go in there and
ATF is alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. It's not having The law in Texas was he could marry a 14-year-old with a parent's consent.
Yeah, and that's the law. If you don't like the law, we should change the law, right? And I'm not an advocate for what David Koresh did, but it was the law. You can marry a 14-year-old if the parents consented. If you don't like it, let's change the law. But in any event...
also, I mentioned before about a book called Light and Darkness or something like that by, who was it, Comey or Grass?
I don't remember.
It was
Snodgrass?
Snodgrass, yeah. And he talks about how the helicopters flew overhead at nighttime and shot through the roof to drive the Davidians down deeper so they wouldn't have a good angle to shoot the the FBI outside.
And they killed a girl inside the compound when they did that.
Yeah, and also he wrote about, or I heard somewhere else, that they had all kinds of records stored in their basement of what happened with the Clintons flying in and out with the CIA drugs at the nearby airport, and they had records, so they sent in a bunker buster.
To destroy everything?
To destroy all the evidence.
You know, another thing that was another important point not to be missed in this particular episode is David wanted to maintain the building as evidence to show that the FBI and ATF had shot live rounds inside this building in a large numbers of, where women and children were kept, and that it would not have showed any return fire. And so he wanted to maintain the building as evidence. And yet, we know what happened. The compound was completely burned to the ground. The front door was missing. The front door would have showed a tremendous amount of bullet holes entering from the outside, going inside the building. So there was a huge destruction of evidence when that building...
There goes a helicopter right now.
We got a helicopter over our own house. When that building was destroyed by fire, and plus they came in and bulldozed everything and got rid of the front door, they destroyed all the evidence. Just like when you have 9/11 and they sent all the steel over to China, they can't have anybody, critically thinking about what's going on, because it would have showed the true story that the FBI and ATF were the aggressors, and these Branch Davidians weren't hurting anybody. They were just minding their own business, doing their own thing. That's about all I got. I can't think of any other important points. Did I miss anything, sweetie?
Just leave us alone. We live in the middle of the country and a helicopter just flew over.
Yeah, but you know what? We're not going to fear. We're going to trust God.
Amen.
And one other thing, David did send out a video. David Koresh sent out a video to the FBI, and he did say that my family may not look like your family, and you may not share beliefs like me, but if you come and shoot my family,
I'll meet you at the door.
I'll meet you at the door anytime. And the FBI took that video because it made him look too normal, and they never let it get out. So I think it did eventually get out, but at the time, they never let the mainstream press play that. And so you've got this constant lying and deception. The FBI and the ATF are professional liars. They are.
At the end of this video, it stops where they cut the power to the compound.
Yeah, and I think they start playing loud music. So.
And they keep flying around with the helicopters, terrorizing the people.
It's all about trying to intimidate and make them be afraid. But I do believe we do serve a mighty living God who will bring justice to these evildoers, and everything that they try to do to us, that God will do to them tenfold, and He'll make sure that justice prevails.
So you better smarten up.
Yep. Amos 5:15, love the good, hate the evil, maintain judgment in the gate.